This is FCTV, Fan Controlled Television. Programs created and produced for the fans, by the fans of Fan Controlled Sports and Entertainment. As always, power to the fans. And now, it's time for the show.
You bet your bunkers it's time for the show.
Boy, oh boy, did you mess up now.
You better believe it's time for the show. Look, get your clock out, put your face right in front of it, and understand that the time that it reads is showtime. Boom. Hi, I'm Kenny Stevenson.
And I'm Alex Enriquez, and it isn't TV, it's Fan Controlled Fandom.
Boom! What is Fan Controlled Fandom?
That.
God,
that.
We are coming in so hot today. I like it. What is Fan Controlled Fandom? This is everything. We are talking about all content in the cape space. Space people, superheroes, dragon fighters, they all wear capes, and we talk to death. And today's show is called Nonstop Goo-Gah. Thanks to Freddie Airmail for this show name last week, because we're keeping with the Goo-Gah. We're still talking X-Men 97 and Bad Batch, because spoiler alert, these shows are freaking awesome.
Yeah, these shows rock. I sometimes feel like some kind of cosmic joke is being played on me, that we have all this good stuff happening. When's the other shoe gonna drop? Still, I await it, but wow, yeah, good stuff.
Yeah. It's always like, oh, should we maybe talk about Godzilla, or should we talk about something? But it's like, no, let's just keep talking about this stuff that's really rad. But before we talk about that stuff, we have to talk about the quick pieces of nerd news. It's called Quick Hits. There's a stinger, and it's gonna just absolutely assault your ears. Here we go. Quick hits. That's right. It comes hard. It comes at you very, very hard.
Not allowed to say that on Twitch. I love that piece of media so much. It gets me fired up for my weekend in a way that you can't even believe.
I can't. You know what I can't believe, or what the internet can't believe? And when I say internet, I mean just the real dork heads who have a real problem with, why is there a girl in my Star Wars? Those kind of jerks.
The cranks and the doinkuses.
Yeah, it was announced this week, casting news out of the MCU. Julia Garner, who, if you watch the show Ozark, if you watch the show Inventing Anna, just a wonderful actor, super talented, super great, very small in stature. So that's my only concern about this role. It's probably going to be all digital. She was cast as the Silver Surfer in the Fantastic Four for Marvel Studios. She is playing the version of the Silver Surfer Shala Ball, which is a real name. That's the version of the character. And of course, the internet got him super upset because men have they don't have any capacity for letting women do anything. But I absolutely love this casting choice. It's super fun.
I think it's very cool, and I think anytime the ass cramps out there, pardon my French, can get their beards twisted, it's a good day for all of us, because this one's gonna burn the house down. I'm very, very excited about Fantastic Four.
Yeah, they just keep quietly just dropping bombs. Like, hey, who's everybody in love with right now? Pedro Pascal. Oh, guess what? We got him. What show's really popular right now? The Bear. Well, we can't get Jeremy Allen White. How about we get Eben Moss Bacharach? Sure, we got him. Vanessa Kirby, she's fun. Let's get her. Oh, Silver Surfer's in this. Oh, and it's Julia Garner, you love from Ozark. Oh, I can't wait when they drop that, when Javier Bardem's Galactus. Like, boom.
I can't wait until the internet chops and screws the Silver Surfer part of the Fantastic Four trailer and edits in Julia Garner screaming at Jason Bateman from Ozark. It's like, leave me alone!
Yeah, that sounds great. She's the thing that is so interesting. Like, whatever people wanted, the narrative that people are trying to put out about Marvel or whatever, they're just like quietly doing what they do, which is like make very bold and interesting casting choices. Like, they're like, when you look at like when they cast the Fox Fantastic Four movies, they kind of cast, with the exception of Jessica Alba, which, I mean, choices were made there, but they kind of cast at like look as opposed to like character or like interesting choices. I mean, everyone's fine. Like Chris Evans is obviously fine as Johnny Fire, but he's obviously better as Captain America.
Jimmy, light him up.
But like what Marvel seems to be doing is like, why don't we get somebody who's a good actor, and then maybe that kind of fits the part, and then maybe it just so happens that person doesn't look like, you know, I wouldn't think Pedro Pascal was the first person you would think of when you're drawing Reed Richards, but good God, what a wonderful choice. What a wonderful choice to play him, though.
It really is. I don't think there really is anybody that we want to see that fits the old image of Reed Richards. The, white temples, pipe smoking, like, square, basically. I think Pedro, a real Dorcas. But I think that Pedro Pascal brings a little edge, a little intensity to it.
A little bit of that zaddy flair.
Ooh, you can't say that on Twitch neither, man. That gets everybody going.
So a lot of people are saying that since they're using this version of the Silver Surfer, there's a lot of like, oh, well, this means it's taking place in a different universe, and that's why and it's just like a lot of conjecture. And I'm just like, I love that we can conjecture, stuff is happening, whatever. But a lot of people are reminding folks, because it's like, oh, well, in the comics, it's like this. So if you're not doing it like this in the movie, you're not doing it like the comics. And it's like, well, the MCU has for a long time not been doing it like the comics. They only do they do some things from the comics, but it's its own damn thing. So, let people cook, man. What's going on?
I agree. And I think that you're starting to see also, I think there's a bit of an interplay too, where things that prove successful in the movies will wind up in the comics. And like, there's room for it. And everybody, shut up. Just shut up. We're tired. Like, we're tired of it. We're tired of all that discourse around the casting choices and all that. And nobody seems to realize that all the complaints are just more free marketing that boosts the signal of this thing they supposedly hate. And like, I don't know, stuff I don't like, stuff that I don't want to spend time with, I don't spend time with, including talking about it.
Yep, agreed. The only time I talk about things that I don't like is when people ask me if I like it or not. Like, hey, what do you think's going to win in the Oscar? Oh, I think this. Oh, you don't think this movie's going to win? No, I'll tell you why, because I don't like it. I don't think it's good.
Yeah, I hope it's not that one about the guy that I didn't like. You can say that. Yeah. If you're prompted,
like,
look, context is everything.
Context is everything. I didn't like that one about the biopic about the guy who was famous and then got really drunk and still cheated on his wife, but was okay because he was a genius. And then at the end, it all worked out. That one.
Which one was that, Kenny?
I don't know. Pick 4 or 5 of every single Oscar-nominated movie every single year.
Like, people, it's funny.
Including the one that won Best Picture this year.
Well, and it's funny that so many things get labeled every couple of years as Oscar bait. But truly, for the history of film, Oscar bait has been what you just described.
Yes, like, it's so hilarious to me that, like, there was that movie that they made, Ron Howard made the Hillbilly Elegy by that just absolute troll J.D. Vance. But, they made an adaptation of that book, and it was just purely Oscar bait. I got Amy Adams, I got Glenn Close. It's a terrible film, but it was one of those deals. And the reason why is it wasn't a biopic about a man who is a genius, but is somehow a tortured genius, but still creates things because he's a genius. It wasn't that. That's the real formula right there. Freddie Ehrman has it right. Hate watching is still watching. Exactly right. Still watching. Speaking
this
of
is
watching,
the thing. Like, I really, and especially in this like commodified attention era, I like, any time I devote any amount of attention to anything I don't like, well, I'm just like using the little signal I have to boost that thing or amplify it. So I just choose not to. Even people who I just go, I kind of don't want to consume their content. They're not monsters. I just go like, not for me.
Not for, yeah, exactly. Hey, BC Lion says, hello, lads. Looking grand. Thank you very much. I'm wearing a tie today. It's a very formal day today.
And over here in the Enriquez household, spring is sprung. I'm in a floral print. Thank you.
Spring is sprung and the chest is out, baby. Let it breathe. It's got to breathe sometimes, you know?
The chest is the treasure. The chest is the treasure.
Did you see the trailer for Tales of the Empire?
Oh, I did. It looks incredible, Kenny.
Wow, right? What a
I got pretty worked up. I did a jump kick in my living room. I was so amped. I said a cuss. I did a jump kick real high.
So I'm now realizing I closed the window I had opened that explained this more. So I have to go top of the dome a little with this one.
Freestyle. Let's hear those bars.
Well, it was, yeah, right. Here we go. True story. When I was in college, I was a DJ at the college radio station, KCPR 91.3, San Luis Obispo. And there was a guy, one of the football players on the show, for the school. He had a show, and he was a buddy of mine. And I was like hanging out in the radio station. He was like, "Oh, come on the air with me." I'm like, "All right," I'm on the air with him, and he's got a beat going, and he goes, "Why don't you freestyle?" I'm like, "I don't think you should do that." And he was like, "Come on, go ahead." I'm like, "All right, fine." I get maybe like, I don't know, 2 words in before I drop an MFer, like just right away,
buddy.
Just like within seconds, just went like bum 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 MFer. What? We're like, whoa! And they were like, the head of the president of the station was there. They was like, "Oh, get him off." I'm like, okay,
gotta dump that.
So I was like, that's my freestyle rapping. No, so Tales of the Empire.
The F in FCC stands for freestyle.
It does. It really does. No, Tales of the Empire. It was so there. Initially, there was a series that came out. Was it last year? Tales of the Jedi, maybe a year and a half ago. I think it was late 2022.
Yeah.
Tales of the Jedi, which was their 6 shorts that featured different Jedis. 1 was about Count Dooku, 3 were about Count Dooku, 3 were about Ahsoka Tano. And then they announced they were going to do a season 2. We had no other information on this other than they were going to do a season 2. And then all of a sudden they dropped a trailer this week that coming out next month is this show called Tales of the Empire. And what it is, we're getting, again, 6 short stories about 2 different characters. It's Morgan Elsbeth and the other one whose name I don't remember. Tell me.
Barriss Offee.
Morgan Elsbeth, we just saw die in Ahsoka, but we don't know much about her story pre-Mandalorian. We saw her first in the Ahsoka episode of Mandalorian. Then she was featured very prominently in Ahsoka and her ties to Thrawn. So I think we're going to be getting some of that backstory. And then say the name again, Barriss
Offee.
Yeah, she was a former Jedi who planted the bomb, became disillusioned with the Jedi, planted a bomb in the Jedi temple, and then pinned it on Ahsoka. And that's what made Ahsoka leave the Jedi Order because of how they supported her. So we see her, looks like she's going to be trained to be an Inquisitor. And this just looks rocking and rolling. I'm like, yep, this looks great.
I'm very into it. It's it looks very, very like the color choices, the feel of it is really, really specific. They're making really, really specific design and like aesthetic choices on this show. And I'm very much, I can't wait to watch Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. That's when it comes out. But
how did I not put that together, man? God, I'm seriously, I don't know if it's just the brain fog or God, I got to tell you, I was very sick this week in a very weird way. I don't know if it was a migraine or what, but I was like knocked the MF out. And so maybe that's why I didn't put it together. But yeah, man, May the 4th. And then a month later, we get the Acolyte. So it's like, holy cow, man, take a little break from Star Wars. And then it's just, but we're not taking a break because we've had the Bad Batch the whole time too.
Yeah, baby. The Bad Batch has been batching us. The real Bad Batch was the Bad Batch we had the whole time.
Thank you very much. And then, and in that Bad Batch was a dog named Batcher.
By the way, can I just say, like my Moriarty
Please.
at my old desk job, was an HR person who is just the worst. And one, everything was an excuse to gather everybody around to listen to her say babblings. And one day she like, okay, and these are the events for this month. And it's Star Wars Day today. So May 5th be with you. And
No.
and
That's a fireable offense.
Me and my friends all looked at each other like, May 5th. I mean, you pass over as 4th, and maybe you would stumble. Anyway, it didn't. That wasn't the reason I hated her, but
May the 5th is already clearly another day, as in Cinco de Mayo, which, for the record, is not Mexican Independence Day for all you jagholes who are like waking up at 8 a.m. to go to like Senor Frogs and Cozy Mel to like drink beers with Sammy Hagar. Like, that's not what you're celebrating, just so you know.
It's the victory of the Mexican army over the French army at the Battle of Puebla, a very important battle that probably stopped the French from being able to fortify the South in the Civil War, thus ensuring that slavery doesn't hold sway in America. So, you're welcome from Mexico.
Yep. I was going to say, is that something that they tell you when you're even like a quarter? I know you're half Mexican, but is that something they just like, it's like part of like your birth certificate? You must know this story because you're going to have to tell this to a bunch of white people later in life.
Yes. Actually, it's funny, if you drink enough Coronas, it's in the bottom of the box. They print it. It's one of the fun facts, like in a Snapple.
Fantastic. Yeah, this show looks just really fun. I love that we're just getting like these low stakes cartoons, man, are really just really hitting, man. It's just like, it's so refreshing to see. And we're just like, no stakes. Like, we don't need to know anything else about Morgan Elsbeth, but guess what? We're going to learn about it. Why the hell not? I mean, look, why would somebody who's a member of the Witches of Dathomir be involved with the Empire when the Sith like destroyed her people? Like, it's just interesting stuff, man.
I agree, and I think that the overall exploration that this seems to be part and parcel of building out the dark side and dark side users, which, it's very interesting to me that the whole initial saga was supposed to be about this faceless villain, and then you find out he used to be a hero and his kid saves him or whatever. That's the initial 3-movie cycle. And the faceless villain of all time, well, not only is he extrapolated and pulled apart and explored ad nauseum in this saga now, but so is his very evil nature, which I don't know. I think that's cool. The stuff that they're doing with it and like exploring the Force and the High Republic stuff is really interesting.
I started Light of the Jedi. I'm listening to it. Fantastic. What a wonderful, wonderful story. I'm very excited about it.
Dude, I'm like, I had to take a little break this week, and I was thinking, man, the one thing I'd hold against these books is that like they pile a lot in real fast. There's characters come and go, but I also then realized that in the last like month and a half, I've listened to 5 audiobooks on 1.5 speed and then read 4 full comic book series. So like you weren't supposed to mainline all of this in like 6 weeks. These are things that came out over years.
I'm telling you, I'm listening to Light of the Jedi, which was the first High Republic book. I'm kind of I want to read the book 1, book 2, and then book 3, and then I'm going to fill in all the blanks. But good Lord, I'm only like 2.5 hours in, and there's like, I don't know, 900 characters so far.
Oh yeah, and it's like, I know that this is sort of the creation by committee thing that Lucasfilm is doing now, but it is a little bit like, oh, people like that Game of Thrones is chock full of a billion names of people who sometimes it's hard to parse out their importance. Like Stellan Garros and Vanestra Rowe. Wait till you get to Vanestra Rowe. She's cool. She's got a lightsaber whip.
I've gotten to her. That was one of my deals when watching. I mean, I love Game of Thrones. It's fantastic. I mean, whatever, seasons 1 through 5 or 6 are great. But yeah, there are definitely times where like a character is gone for like, I don't know, 3 full seasons. Then they come back and we're just supposed to just know who that is. And I'm like, who the F is that guy? And then you have to go, you have to Google it. And I'm like, oh yeah, that was the guy who way back in season 1, like asked somebody for money on the streets and now they're like a full-fledged character. Like, yeah,
You're right.
Stuff is wild. You know what else is wild? Last week we were talking about Spider-Man 4 possible directors, and we talked about how it should be Drew Goddard because Justin Lin directed Space Jam: A New Legacy. Well, Drew Goddard is off the table now because he is going to be directing Matrix 5, which just absolutely blew me away. I don't know if did you see the last Matrix movie?
I did, and I don't know what I saw.
Yeah, this is the thing. Like, when I watched it, I was like, man. And I remember listening to, I always reference these guys, the Midnight Boys. Well, it wasn't the Midnight Boys. I think it was just on the Ringer verse, but it was specifically Van Lathan talking about it. He was like, look, and the way he described the movie was exactly how I felt watching it. He was like, look, I'm going to tell you right now. The Wachowskis, they're incredibly skilled directors. Keanu Reeves, what an incredible actor who is just able to pump out amazing action sequences in his mid to late 50s. Carrie-Anne Moss, amazing. All these characters are doing such great work. That being said, this movie was effing terrible. So that's kind of how I felt watching. Now, specifically Van Lathan has gone back to watch it again and has totally changed his tune and is like, you know what? I'm sorry. It's actually pretty good. So I don't know. I'm holding off on that, but there was one of my favorite TikToks was like, Neo's powers in the first 3 Matrixes. And it's like, stopping bullets, climbing through phones, like bending time. Then like Neo's powers in Matrix Resurrections, boom, just all he's doing is just, and that's what he does. Like they're riding on the back of a motorcycle and he just goes like, bah, and like everything falls away. And it's like, okay. It was kind of I don't know how I feel about it, man, but I guess they're doing another one.
I'm very curious to see what the what is here. Are they rebooting? Are they restarting? Is it direct sequel?
I'll tell you what I got here. It says, Drew came to Warner Brothers with a new idea that we all believe would be an incredible way to continue the Matrix world by both honoring what Lana and Lily began over 25 years ago. Lana is just producing. Drew is going to direct. The entire team at Discovery is thrilled for Drew to be making this new Matrix film. Hi, dogs. Adding his vision to the cinematic canon, the Wachowskis spent a quarter of a century building here at the studio. It's not hyperbole to say that the Matrix films changed both cinema and my life. That's kind of hyperbole. Well, that's what Goddard is saying. Lana and Lily's exquisite artistry inspires me on a daily basis, and I'm beyond grateful for the chance to tell stories in their world. It remains uncertain if Keanu, Carrie-Anne Moss, Lawrence Fishburne, Hugo Weaving, or Jada Pinkett Smith will return for the next series installment. So we have no idea what this is. Based on what Drew Goddard is saying, this sounds like this is a movie taking place in the Matrix universe and Keanu's not going to be in it.
I just thought to myself, Joe Pantoliano, very available. Making it known now, very available for the Matrix 5, 6,
Matrix,
whatever.
What do you? No, it's 5. It's 5 because we had Revolutions, Resurrection. I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about this because there's definitely parts of like watching Resurrection that was like, I mean, I like this, I guess, but at the same time, it was kind of like, how did this work? They didn't quite really explain to me why we're even doing this, because he died, but I guess he didn't die, and now he's back in the Matrix, and Jonathan Groff, I did like Jonathan Groff in that movie a great deal. I would love to see him do more action stuff.
Yeah, he's cool. He's a Superman type guy that I would put a Superman cape on.
King George from Hamilton. Let's go.
Absolutely. And I just feel like every time we've gone back to the Matrix has been a further and further departure from the thing that blew me away 25 years ago, sitting in a movie theater, watching a movie I really didn't know anything about. That was like the best part of the Matrix is like,
yes,
these trailers came out. There was like, wait a minute. So there's kung fu fighting and there's like an alien. What is this? And
we're flying around. Like, what is the deal here?
Bam, like super power punch to the face, philosophy, big themes, the look, the feel, all of it. It was so linear Tarantino, so stylistically referential. It was like really, really something. And then every time they went back, it was harder and harder to touch base with that feeling, that special feeling that the first one had.
That begs the question again, should we be doing it? Because that's kind of where we're at with the Terminators. We talked about this before. Like, you're trying to grab at something that worked once and you're refusing to have the answer be, this can only work once. You know what I mean? So
I also feel like, there's something to, frankly, I don't want the Wachowskis to do any more creation, because sometimes they come up with stuff and it becomes like a red pill, blue pill thing, like a watchword of the alt-right. I just think that like they dabble in pools that are a little too high and mighty philosophically for the people that are going to wind up watching their movies 55 times on DVD.
They don't stop talking about, you should see all the Speed Racer memes on 8chan. It was a failed joke. I want to get through a couple more things real quick. Let's do this one. Zoe Saldana, real quick. She played Gamora. Universally known as saying that she does not want to play the part again. She said to the Hollywood Reporter this week, she said she does not think that the MCU is finished with the Guardians. She said specifically, I would think it would be a huge loss for Marvel if they didn't find a way to bring back the Guardians of the Galaxy. It's just such a fan favorite group of misfits, And then at the helm, they had a voice like James Gunn writing, which is just so marvelous for and very specific for this genre. So I think what she's basically saying is they've backed the truck up. I got the money that I need to do this, and we'll be in Secret Wars, and then we're going to do Volume 4, and they backed the truck up. They're somehow going to get James Gunn out of his contract somehow to make this movie, and it's happening.
Right. And frankly, I don't think there is anything precluding James Gunn from doing something for Marvel in his contract. I would bet that
True.
is a holdout. That's just, hey, if you can find the time and still fulfill your concrete contractual obligations to Warner, Discovery, DC, Shark Week, based on the novel Push by Sapphire.
Yes.
The prospect of that, the prospect of James Gunn writing that new team we saw at the end of 3.
Yeah, but I think we'll still here's the thing. I think Dave Bautista is not coming back. And as sad as that is, because he's so absolutely wonderful as Drax, I don't understand why you don't want to. It's like, if it works, baby, get in there. But he's not, it sounds like he's not going to do it, which is fine. But as we can get the rest of that team back and have some other folks jumping around, and we talked about it on this podcast, on this Twitch stream, this Twitter show, so many times about in the comics, the number of people who go back and forth in the Guardians is, I said it before, the Thing was in the Guardians of the Galaxy. So guess who we got now coming into the MCU? We got the Thing. So why not shoot him up to space and put Chris Pratt and Eben Boss Baccarat in the same room and let him cook? That sounds like fun.
I think that there have been times where the concept of even teams that have like really fixed rosters have classically been changed in Marvel continuity. Like there's a very famous Fantastic Four run where the Fantastic Four is Wolverine, Ghost Rider, Spider-Man, and Grey Hulk. The Avengers lineup, of course, classically changes all the time. There's always different X-Men coming and going. So yeah, Iron Man was a Guardian of the Galaxy. I would like to see an MCU where the it's a little more fluid. People can be in whatever team they want. I'd love to see things show up in the Guardians of the dang Galaxy.
Come on, man. What is some of the best stuff we've seen is when they dropped Thor on that ship in Avengers Infinity War and let Hemsworth play in that pool, and it was just absolutely one of the most memorable things we've seen them do. Why not? Put Thor back in there. Great stuff.
Put Spider-Ham in Batman.
Done.
Is that one?
That is, I don't know that. We can probably make it work. All right. This is real quick. This is real, no doy news of the week. Kirsten Dunst said in an interview, that her iconic Spider-Man kiss from Spider-Man 1, where he's upside down and it's in the rain, she said that was quote unquote miserable to shoot. No doy.
Right.
It looks absolutely terrible to shoot.
Yeah, literally, if they weren't on a film set and they were in a prison somewhere doing the exact same thing to Tobey Maguire, everybody'd get arrested. It's waterboarding. He's basically being waterboarded.
Yes. I mean, and there's no world where you're like, kiss me upside down. No, that's like uncomfortable and weird. Like, it's just not, I've always found that to be like weird. Like, I know that like visually it's like, ooh, kind of funny and stuff, but I've always been like, but that's not comfortable. Like, that's why would you're like kissing, you're like almost practically making out with their nose.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It was a perfect example of like can and should, came up with this great visual and like, ooh, and because he can, we should, but no, you shouldn't.
Freddie Emerald says, but it's waterboarding for pay. Yeah, if you're getting paid for it, it's not waterboarding.
Oh, you cut me a check, I'll let you stomp on my eyeballs.
Yeah, he's upside down and his nose is covered and they're pouring water on him. Yeah, that's slowly killing Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, well, and by the way,
I've been told a lot of people would be okay with.
His nose, oh yeah, I heard he's a scumbag, but his nose is covered not with something that'll block the water, but will just allow water to seep in, actually, like literally.
And then like pool at the end, so like water would be like as he's upside down, water would just be sitting at the top of his head and then slowly building up until he's encased in water and dies. And then while that's happening, can you guys kiss?
Yeah, kiss him now. Kiss him now.
I'm surprised that it took 20 plus years. It felt like the quick hits almost took 20 plus years to say that, but it didn't. It took 31 minutes. But here we are. Alex, we are on the Fan Controlled Sports and Entertainment Twitch stream, Twitter stream, YouTube, I don't know, LinkedIn, fill in the blank social media. We're the E in the FCSE. We got to do a little bit of the S. We need a little bit of the sports. We have one piece of sports news. Alex, what's your news for the week?
Well, Moshi Moshi Formula One, as we say, Arigato Japan. The MSC Cruises Japanese Grand Prix is coming, and it's actually yet to be seen whether or not American driver Logan Sargent will be racing for a second time in a row as he crashed again early in FP1. His car wasn't initially prepared in time for FP2. So if he does have a car in time for qualifying, it will be a prior race spec. So not nearly optimized for the specific needs of this track. And then he's the first American name in Formula One in quite some time. And if I can editorialize here for a bit, at least this Patriot is getting a little tired of seeing the stars and stripes at the bottom of the standings. There's 3 other letters that should never appear next to USA. And that's DNF. Back to you, Kenny.
DNF did not finish.
Yeah,
it could stand for do not F with.
Do not freestyle.
Do not freestyle. I mentioned last week that there was a whole new football league starting up. The United Football League kicked off last weekend. We had 4 great games, but my news specifically pertains to the St. Louis Battlehawks playing the Michigan Panthers. The second game of the second game on Saturday, which the ratings came out, and the game had better ratings than opening weekend of St. Louis Cardinals baseball. So pretty good opening weekend rating wise for the United Football League. Hopefully we're here to stay. DNF. Freddie Airmail says Dan trolled football.
Yeah,
exactly what it stands for. So that's my news. Looking to see what they pick up next week as you wait this week. The St. Louis Battlehawks are playing at home, and as I mentioned last week, Alex, they average 30,000 fans. They'll probably be closer to 55,000 fans there to watch spring football in St. Louis. It's a great time to watch Battlehawks, and people go like, "Caw-caw!" It's pretty crazy. They do.
I can't wait till they take on the Clackamas Candy Boys. That's going to be a real barn burner of a game.
It is. Alex, who's our corporate sponsor for the week? I know you've been burning that barn of the corporate world trying to get a sponsorship.
My nose has been to the grindstone. My axe has been in my teeth. The sponsor this week is author Rung Cougarand. And he says, and he's got the 5 wolf system. So you're a big time sissy. You know it. I know it. The girls at work know it. They say every man has 2 wolves inside him. I say, sounds like a good start. Welcome to the 5 wolf system. Drive, hunger, competition, drive, and strong. Harness these wolves inside you and live your dreams. No woman will laugh at you again. Your stepdad won't kiss your mom in front of you anymore. And dad will finally come back with the beers he left for 15 years ago. So that's the 5 wolf system by Rung Cougarand.
I love that strength is twice on that 5.
Actually, drive is twice. It's drive, hunger, competition, drive, and strong. Those are the 5 wolves.
I don't know about this 2-wolf system. That's all sounds good to me.
Every man has 2 wolves inside him. That's what they say. I don't know what those 2 wolves are, but they're always at each other.
I can tell you one thing right now, that I have a lot of things inside me, and a wolf is definitely not one of them. Let alone 2. So again, title of the show, Nonstop Goo-Gah.
Sorry, I have to go secure the door. Sorry, it's flapping in the wind. If you continue, I can hear you.
Set us up. I'm going to tee us up here. So it's Nonstop Goo-Gah is the name of the show, because we yet again this week will be our main topic is X-Men 97 and Star Wars Bad Batch, because these shows keep cranking out hits. Specifically, we'll start with X-Men 97, and I'm going to give a recap of just an absolutely bonkers half hour of television we got. It's called, episode 4 is titled Motendo / Life Death Part 1. It was written by Chase Conley, directed by Bo. No, is it Bo? Hold on. This is directed by Chase Conley, written by Bo DeMeo and Charlie Feldman. On the morning of her 18th birthday, Jubilee and Roberto are transported into a video game by Mojo. With the help of a digital copy of Jubilee from the game's beta version named Abscissa, this is all stuff that happened. The pair fight their way through the game and defeat Mojo before Spiral sends them back to the real world. Afterward, Jubilee kisses Roberto. Meanwhile, Storm heads to Forge's ranch to undergo a procedure meant to restore her powers. But yep. Sorry. We'll get there. It's fine. Yep. But it fails. After he admits to previously inventing power nullifying technology, an enraged Storm tries to leave, only to be brought back by the adversary, Alex. I mean, what'd you think of this show?
Dude, come on. This rocked so hard. They're doing it. I mean, the as impressive as the sort of thesis of the original X-Men animated series was, like this very wide ranging access to the comics and all that, they're going for it even harder in this thing. The animation is so crisp and clean. The styles they jump in and out of, this whole like jumping into the 16-bit brawler world, looking like the original X-Men arcade cabinet game, like so cool, so good. This thing really works. I
almost texted you like 10 minutes in, just like, wow, man, they're really doing it. They to call a show X-Men 97 and then proceed to have an episode which somebody gets pulled into a 16-bit game and we get like 16-bit graphics. We get the 16-bit music. And to do it in a way, like a lot of times when we do like a lot of this nostalgia that's been coming over the past 10 years, sometimes they do it as like, look, remember this? And that's all they do with it.
Yeah.
Like I think of the movie Pixels, the Adam Sandler movie, where it's just like, hey, remember Qbert? Qbert's here, but that's it. Whereas this is like, hey, remember this, but also like, let's like dive in and remember what it's like to actually be in one of these games and what the setups are. And good Lord, it was just so freaking cool. Right. And I'm watching this stuff just being like, never in my wildest dreams would I thought we would get something like that. But then at the same time, because it's X-Men 97, yeah, of course we're going to get that. Of course we're going to get, like, video games in the 90s were massive. I mean, they're still massive now, but we're talking about the real dawn of like the Sega Nintendo wars, console wars, like up in the, I mean, this was like such a big deal. I mean, I just was absolutely floored of just this episode of television that was just on its face, like reading out loud what happened, as the show says, just absolute Goo-Gah, like just Goo-Gah as you could possibly. Mojo's this big giant like thing on on a spider lift that's like creating he's a content creator for the universe. Like it's just
Yeah.
it's wild, man.
I've you know, I said it last week, and I think that this is again another push into this idea that this is the X-Men animated series for the people that were watching the original one that are aged up. It's aged up for us now here. You know, this whole romance, sort of coded romance between Storm and Forge, and like the heaviness of the soldier of war, the amazing thing he can do put to misuse, like the complicated nature of that character. Forge has always been a favorite character of mine. I don't really know why. Something about that he rocked the original like blue and gold like X-Men training garb, had the cybernetics, and like his power is nuts. His power is basically that he can create anything he can think of. And they did a really, really good job of articulating how that power works in a really elegant way.
The fact that they are able to achieve, again, in like, and this isn't even, I mean, 70% of the episode is this Jubilee story. So we only got this is one of our first times we've gotten kind of like which happens a lot in animated shows. Even to this day, you get 2 stories per episode. But this was like, this Forge story, Storm line was only maybe 10 minutes of the episode. But in that amount of time, the amount of like, I'm just going to straight up say it, like sexual tension they were able to create between these 2 characters is like palpable. And I'm just watching it, just being in like utter awe. Like this is a show in which like Storm's hair, if you were to see somebody walking around the earth with her hair, you wouldn't be able to function. You'd be like, what in the world is happening right now?
Right.
But this person's just operating through space. And then we got guy with the thickest handlebar mustache that if it gets a little, it ventures into the world of gross. But somehow with these animated characters, they were able to create so much like tension, romantic tension, sexual tension. Like this show is just doing so much with what on paper seems like absolute nonsense.
Really, it really does. And it feels so much like how it used to feel to read X-Men. I mean, I thinking back, I think there was a series called Classic X-Men when I was younger that was, you know, reprints of classic issues from like 10, 15 years before.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And you find yourself in the middle of the Inferno crossover. You're like, what is going on? You just have no idea whatever is going on in an X-Men comic from the classic era ever. From which, like the era from which they're drawing, especially this Storm and Forge storyline, you know, it's nutty. It's this big grand soap opera, and it's got big themes and big looks, and I think they're really, really encapsulating the X-Men, and I think too it's Disney and Marvel seeing the strength in animation that you can, because the suspension of disbelief is way, way easier. You can hit stuff a little harder. You can get mature and adult and have the big fat Mojo spider leg man.
Yeah, this you're right. This episode really swings from like as like silly as you can get, like and cool and like visually interesting with all the video game stuff, and then switches gears to this romance, this soap opera, but it's also like multi-layered. You have 2 of like the only people of color who have been in the X-Men who are now kind of out of it and connecting through that kind of mutual. It's just like there's so much. We think about those first 2 episodes that we saw when there was like, you know, allusions to the insurrection, and there's so much that this show does politically underneath all of like the wackadoodle stuff that's happening. Yeah, Mojo and his spider legs, and like an adult. The fact that like an avatar of Jubilee that was used to beta test the game is somehow aged is a concept alone that's silly. Like, why would it age? It's not real. It's not a person.
And by the way, that's also it's a nutty concept, and they drew it from the comic books. That's like that was like in one of the first Mojo comics from the 80s, I think.
I mean, it's so. I think I wrote this in the show notes. It's like, where the MCU is prior to the start of this show. Like, this is, we had Echo, and they basically just like dumped Echo in January. They were like, we're just going to dump it all in one day, and it's in January. And if you see it, great. If you don't, whatever. And then we don't have anything from them until Deadpool, which everybody's excited for Deadpool. We're all in the Deadpool and Wolverine. We're all into it. But for the fact that, like, never in a million years would I thought that this show, X-Men 97, would, like, slowly and, like kind of rebuild some of the equity that they may have lost over the couple of years. I would have never thought that ever. And in my mind, it seems to be, and basically what I read in the zeitgeist, it is, like, reinvigorated a lot of people's love of this stuff.
It's definitely a good thing to have going in the conversation to drown out whatever else. Like you said, you're right. They're shifting the optics and gaining back equity, and that restraint. And God bless Bob Iger. He just scored another one. The shareholder fight.
Did he say something about the woke stuff too? He said something about that. He had a quote about, like, basically dunking on all the people who have a problem. Like, he basically said, like, all these people are complaining about stuff being woke, but they don't really even know what that even means or what they're arguing against. And I was like, Bob Iger, look at you.
And then what do you think of what do you think of criticism from Elon Musk? And he's like, I don't. Next question.
Boom. Boom.
Obviously, big time scumbag corporate overlord guy. We need to pull him down. As we currently
have 159 people watching this show on that platform, but hey, welcome.
yeah. You're the king of that place. He's a real rube.
He is a real rube. Here, like, I think I did wrote, is it kind of sexy? We also got our first kind of cliffhanger, and I was a little like, I don't know if this was originally the intention or what, but this definitely is a thing that happens in like 90s cartoons and stuff, because here's the thing. Based on the, we have, like, the shows that are coming up. We don't get part 2 of this, not till the next episode, but the episode after that. So next episode the title of the episode is Remember It. And then episode 6 is Life, Death, part 2. So this is also kind of an interesting kind of story thing that they're doing, which you can do when you have, like, multiple characters to follow.
And it really is, I think, from what I've seen, this storyline with Forge and Storm is like a 2-issue little bump out of the main X-Men continuity. Not out of continuity, but you're not following the team as they go on adventures. You're following this storyline with these 2 characters.
Yeah, because they make it very clear that the Professor X's the school is nowhere near Dallas, Texas. You got to get on a bus to go there.
Oh yeah, a whole bus with people on it that certainly looked strange next to her. Like, even in the cartoon, I've never seen an image in a cartoon that made me go, "Whoa, that makes me feel weird for that person." I don't know. It's very strange. Did you felt the same thing?
Yeah, because it's like, why? Like, I get that she's lost her powers, but, like, it's not 1965, which that's a whole other thing. I'm talking about, like, air travel in the 90s is not something hard. Like, it's not something that people aren't doing. In fact, it's probably, like, way more affordable than it is now than it is in the 90s. We can't put her on an airplane? Like, what is she going to, like, you lost your powers. You know what? I got to go. Hey, that's fine. Here's, I don't know, I'm going to say by 1997 prices, here's $10 to get on the bus to Dallas. Otherwise, you're on your own. Bye. Like, what?
Maybe she was, like, doing a thing, because, like, she used to be able to just fly, right? Or barring that, she'd be in the Blackbird with the other X-Men, super secret, supersonic stealth jet fighter thing. So, like, how many times has she actually been in a car or, like, an automobile? Like, maybe she was like, I am going to be like the common people. And she sat down and she was like,
The normies, look at me with my giant, like, I mean, honestly, what are we going to say that hair? We got to think that's at least 6 feet, not 6 feet, but like 1.5 feet of hair, at least.
Oh, right. And and the thing is, I think that the whole time that's a signal that she still really is Storm. She has it because like that hair isn't doing that without some kind of supernatural intervention. You feel me?
Thank you very much. Like, I don't know what time she's got to get up to start making that happen, but it's very early. And
Yeah.
I don't even want to touch it. And I'm somebody who doesn't even know how to deal with black hair, but I know that it's a lot of work. I got friends who got to get up at like every Sunday. They got to take their daughter in to do their hair, and it takes a long time. I mean, come on, man.
The maintenance of it, even like low key maintenance of a black person's hair, very, very specific, very time intensive. Black hair is not a monolith. There's like a million different sets and subsets of texture of hair. All that to say, Storm, and specifically this portrayal of Storm, this performer who's like the iconic Storm to me. Well, good on you.
Yeah, the voice talent here, again, they created sexual tension that was palpable. Like, there was that scene where they're talking to each other and she's like, I gotta go. And they like were kind of holding each other close. And I was like, oh God, like, yeah, man, that's what's happening. Like, that's been the undercurrent this whole time. And now it's just, they're not calling it out. Neither one of them's like, hey, what are you doing? Putting your hand on me. No, they're just like that's how it'd be in real life, man. Like, it's fascinating stuff, dude.
My wife almost had to make me stop watching because it made me so distracted during Bible study. I don't know
On that note, let me ask you: is this before we move on to Bad Batch? Is this Star Trek or Star Wars? And then
this is Star Trek, man. This is like big themes, big thoughts, big ideas. It's Star Trek, baby.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Star Trek too, because I could definitely you wouldn't never see anything Star Wars where you would see somebody pulled into a video game. But because like there's literally like a holodeck in TNG, and you could just basically say that the holodeck is one big video game, like that tracks. Like, yeah, this is definitely Star Trek for me. Something that is definitely Star Wars is the Bad Batch, show that, God Almighty, just has no business being this good, but it just is, man. And we got 2 episodes. We got 2 episodes dropped on Wednesday, which we did not know we were getting to. We got 2. And this show continues to run this linear narrative that's basically leading us to, I don't know, Snoke? Who the hell knows? But let's do a quick recap. Episode 10 is called Identity Crisis, directed by Saul Ruiz, written by Amanda Rose Munoz. All over the Empire, children, this is wild. Children revealing Force sensitivity are snatched up and delivered to Tantus. With Nala Se's imprisonment, Hemlock reluctantly promotes Emery Carr to her vacant position and familiarizes her with Project Necromancer. Once witnessing the callous brutality with which the children are being used as specimens, Carr slowly becomes disillusioned with the Empire and the righteousness of her work. Facing the cancellation of his project's funding, Hemlock learns that his clone assassin from Teth has tracked down Fee as one of Omega's contacts and sends him after her. No mention in that breakdown of freaking Cad Bane, but Cad Bane's also in this episode.
Yeah, dude.
Episode number 11 is titled Point of No Return, directed by Nate Villanueva, written by Amanda Rose Munoz. The clone assassin infiltrates Fee's ship during a checkup and hacks her navigation computer, thus about Omega's whereabouts on Pabu. Just as the Bad Batch prepares to leave the planet, the assassin arrives and confirms their presence, destroys the Marauder, and calls an Imperial strike team in. With their means of escape cut off, the rest of the batch tries to evade their pursuers while Hunter leaves to steal a gunship. After Hunter fails, Omega decides to surrender herself, both to spare the people of Pabu and to enable the batch to trace her to Tantus. Crosshair's attempt to plant a tracker fails, and the assassin leaves with Omega. Alex, what'd you think of these episodes?
Whoa, I want to go back to something you said earlier. You said this show has no business being this good. I want to remind everybody that this whole thing comes out of a storyline that was like cut from unreleased episodes of Clone Wars. This is all like, we're lucky to have it, and we're lucky that it's this good. I really do very much enjoy this show. it's doing big stuff, and it really is helping to form that connective tissue in the Star Wars universe that's so important. And yeah, I think we're barreling towards Snoke. I think that
it certainly freaking feels like it.
and the big setup of it's ambiguous, but probably, yeah, she has force powers. So without the tracking device, without the communicator, or without the idea that you know,
I can't hear you.
Dude is really tech who's been reprogrammed, and she can. It's just hard to see the interventions and the ways she gets out of this.
It's yeah, that's my big question is I don't know how
I lost
she makes
you
it
audio wise. Hold on a second.
I lost you for a second. Who can actually hear me? Because I can hear you fine. Can you hear me now? Let us know in the chat who we can actually hear. Let me try this. Can you hear me now? Oh, apparently we can hear both of us. So, but yep. Can you hear me?
Ah, I got you now. Okay.
Wow, that was dramatic. That was very dramatic. Freddie, I don't know if he's had Kenny the whole time. I've had you, Freddie, the whole time too.
Well, we all have each other, and we're blessed with each other's company. And I would just like to raise a glass to all of you. Thank you.
Raise a glass to the 2, 3 of us. Something that we'll never say again. Anyway, I was saying about this show. Yeah, this is a quote unquote. This is so funny too about these animated shows, especially these animated Star Wars shows, because the original Clone Wars movie and the first, like, I don't know, season of Clone Wars is quote unquote for kids. But this show, if you were to say this show is for kids, you're crazy, because this is a show that literally shows them kidnapping children and imprisoning them, not even letting them tell their names, so they can draw blood from them to get their midichlorians. Like, this is some dark, dark stuff. The stuff, the kind of evil you want from the Empire when you want your Star Wars. You want your Empire to be as devious as all get down. And they are, to the point that Grand Moff Tarkin, this guy Hemlock, Grand Moff Tarkin is calling him up, being like, what do you need more money for? And he's like, it's classified. This guy has higher clearance than Grand Moff frickin' Tarkin, a person who we know from whether he's been alive Peter Cushing or digitally Peter Cushing, is somebody who has a lot of pull in the Empire, and this is a project that he doesn't know about. So it does so many things. It raises the stakes of what's happening in this show. It solves the reason as to why nobody else is talking about this in any of the movies that they are happening concurrently to this project. It solves that whole thing. It's just, God almighty, again, this show it has no business being this good, but it is. And watching that show, and then the fact that, and another thing about, this is not a children's show, Cad Bane shows up and just kidnaps a child and has absolutely no remorse about it at all. Like,
he's remorseless.
And that is not even a child, like a baby. Like, look, I'm going to say, if I had any critique about this episode, the sound design, that baby was making a lot of baby noises. Like, we could have scaled back the baby noise by like maybe 15, 20%. It's like, I get it. It's a baby. It makes noise.
I started lactating.
I don't know if you could say that on Twitch. But it was a lot of like,
sorry.
I was like, I get it. It's a baby. We get it. He's Cad Bane's here to steal a baby, and he stole that baby. And the look on what's her face? Yeah, we've all been there. Jess, I know you've been there. But what's the girl, the clone who takes over for? I just read it. God Almighty. The look on, I'm gonna get there. Emery Carr's when Cad Bane comes off the ship and reveals that it's just like a baby. She's like, oh my dear God, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? Like, we're experimenting on babies now? Like, I have a hard time doing straight children like we're doing right now, but now I gotta poke a baby every day, which interpret that the way it should be taken.
Hey, easy.
And but just dark stuff, man, in this quote unquote animated Star Wars show for quote unquote kids.
No, here's the thing. I disagree, because I think this episode specifically is the perfect one to show to kids, because you see all those kids in the jail. Yeah, they also farted at Grandpa's house. So if you don't want to go to Jedi prison, don't fart at Grandpa's house.
Daddy, why are those kids in that jail? Because they refuse to eat their carrots.
Yeah.
That's why. So why
that
don't
one with the horns. That one with the horns was jumping on the bed.
Yeah, man. Get that kid under control. And then green guy was like, I'm out of here, baby. Get me out of this thing. Yeah, and then he tries to get out. And then they're like, they just, you know what they do to wrangle those kids? Just guns. We just sent all the police to come in and just point guns at kids. This is some next level stuff on this show.
Healthy mistrust of authority. Come on, we're just getting more and more into good stuff for kids to learn. This is the fundamentals, baby. Hey, look. How young was I watching New Hope and a guy's arm is just on the ground, huh? Come on. Touche.
Yeah, this is, again, we've been slowly talking about this show, how it's dropped its kind of like job of the week narrative, and now we're into this kind of linear story that's building to something. And they just, again, it really feels like they're showing us more and more of Project Necromancer that we've ever seen in, like, it was mentioned in The Mandalorian by Moff Gideon. We've seen Din Djarin like once or twice walk by some, little containers. It really feels like we are getting, like, when Hemlock turned to Emery and was like, I'm going to take you down to the vault. I was like, oh crap, here we go. I guess we're seeing Snoke now. And we didn't, but still, like, it feels like it's like something really big that's filling this gap between like Last Jedi and JJ, like insisting on putting Palpatine in Rise of Skywalker. We're getting closer to like making that all make sense. Because as we've said many times on this show too, that is one of the things that did not make a lot of sense in Rise of Skywalker.
Do you think Dave Filoni goes, oh yeah, this is such a cool idea, the Sith Eternal, and like, oh, what if there were clones and Snoke was a clone and had all these ideas to connect it back? Or do you think Kathleen Kennedy went like, David, could you do us a favor?
I think it's the latter. I think at some point David was like, I like operating in the world of the prequels. I love the Clone Wars. I love Rebels. I don't want to do anything past A New Hope. Let me just operate in this space. And then Rise of Skywalker came out and was like, okay, David, can you come into my office real quick? David, we're going to need you via live action television shows and animated shows. Remember what you did with the prequels? How you made everybody like the prequels when nobody really likes the prequels? We're going to need you to do that again for Rise of Skywalker. Can you do that for us, David?
Do you think she just poked her head out of her office door and was like, we need a Clone Wars again, David. Can you Clone Wars again for us? Not for the prequels.
Like for what? From what JJ did? Oh, you mean bringing Palpatine?
Can you just come in here? Can you just come in here?
I don't want to yell. It's tough for me to just yell when you're just like 4 doors down. Can you just get in my office, please?
Slack it to me, Kathleen. I'm busy.
Slack it. Oh my God. What is JJ and Kathleen's and Filoni's Slack like? I was just on a call with somebody and I heard like their Slack go off and I was like, I know what's happening to you. Someone's sending you a message via Slack. Let me see if I got it. Okay, let's have this real quick. Is Omega gonna survive this show? Like,
I do not know.
We've been talking about for years about wanting them to cast Tamura Morrison to play live action Omega, but I don't know if Omega's going to make it out of this show.
I mean, do they kind of, shunt her off into like a Peridia style thing, like they're doing with Ahsoka and them? Do they to kind of pull her out of continuity? So but they have her materials. They don't need to kill her. I mean, who knows? I really.
That did occur to me. They could just have her, and then you know what that means though? That just means that there's no reason why the next time Din Djarin's walking around one of these places, he doesn't open up and there's Tamura Morrison playing a live action Omega, baby.
Hollywood toy and costume, Barbie wig on. Tuesday,
right
2 days
there.
of stubble.
He's like, oh, and then Din Djarin's like, wait, what is that over there? And he's like, hello, my name's Omega. I've been the clone. I've been the clone who's been making all these other clones. That's
I've got
me.
a I've got a high M
I
count.
make 'em. I got a high M count. And then Din Djarin's like, oh my God, can you put a helmet on real quick?
Please. Here, I've got a spare. It's a bag with holes in it. He's just, this is no. It's a Mandalorian helmet. Have you been to Mandalore? Trust me, it's a Mandalorian. It's a trainer.
This is what they look like.
Just keep that on. Yeah,
Fantastic. I wanted to say too, I wrote this in the notes too. These episodes, God, they had some really amazing animation. Like the one thing that sticks out to me is like that big giant Imperial ship appears above the top of like that tower on Pabu, and it's like you see it from down below kind of come into frame, and they get that like big wide shot of you seeing it, and it's just, I don't know why that's always cool to me, like seeing how giant these spaceships are that they fly around, that because when you see them in space you don't get a lot of context as to how big they are, except when like Leia's trying to run away from it and you see that it's a giant. But when you see it in that kind of context of like this landmass, it's like, wow, it's just so imposing. And like the fact that it was at night, to get these like any light that's coming off the ship is super bright. And I just find this whole string of episodes to be just super impressive technically as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think that there's a lot. They're pushing a lot in the cinematography, in the design, and yeah, like you said, that it's hard to encompass that kind of mass unless you have the frame of reference like that little town. I mean, I think an ISD is like a kilometer long. I think literally that ship is 1 kilometer long, and that shape is so imposing. You just know something bad is happening there. It just graphically signals to you that like it's so important, that design language that they keep intact. And I'm gonna go back and watch them again.
Yeah, man, they're really fun. And there was one thing else I wanted. There was another shot. All the shots, all the stuff down in the vault and all that stuff. All of the stuff that Hemlock's doing feels like super Imperial, even though it's like kind of off the books Empire stuff that we're learning now, because not even Tarkin knows what's going on. Like, but it still feels like within the world, like and of the Empire and of the time. And gosh, man, they're just freaking. We keep saying it. This silly show about a rogue batch of clones, where one of them's name is literally Wrecker, and he almost is like. He's almost like Wreck-It Ralph, frankly. Yeah. Just like,
he's a big, strong idiot.
I smash things. And then, Fix It Felix comes in and I'm gonna fix it. But like, but that's what it is. But that's where it started. And this is where we are, is just, wow, man.
About to land the bird and make it happen. Yeah, I'm really having a great time with this show.
Bird. Bird is the word. Let me see what else I got written.
One might say.
Oh, let's talk. Go ahead.
No, you please.
I just want to talk. Wait, we're almost done. I just want to give a little more time to Cad Bane, because we did get Cad Bane back, and just one of the coolest things that Dave Filoni has created is Cad Bane, and we got him in live action in Book of Boba Fett or Mandalorian season 2. I forget which one it was.
Mandalorian.
Yeah, we got Cad Bane. I've always had more Cad Bane. Cad Bane's so rad, and I want to see him more in live action. To see him, especially when he had a shootout with Cobb Vanth. Anytime you could get Timothy Olyphant in your Star Wars, booyakasha. But he's just a cool character. Obviously, shown here if you're seeing him for the first time as some guy who just kidnaps kids with no remorse.
Yeah.
The fact that I'm saying he's cool is, you're probably thinking like, why is that cool? He seemed like kind of like a piece of garbage. But
yeah,
you watch his arcs in the Clone Wars and his arcs in Rebels. He's kind of like, this might be blasphemy, but he's kind of like what in your head you thought Boba Fett was before we got a lot of what Boba Fett's backstory is in the comics and in Book of Boba Fett. Like when you only knew like 17 minutes worth of footage on Boba Fett and what you thought he was, like that's kind of what Cobb Vanth Cad Bane.
Cad
is.
Bane. I mean, yeah, he puts proof to the like how dangerous bounty hunters are. And yeah, you're
Yes.
exactly right. It was like, oh, the what Boba Fett's sort of mystique conjured, Cad Bane has been since the very beginning. The sound of his voice, that voice actor's phenomenal. And
Yeah,
the way
man.
that it's that accent, but every single line of dialogue that character ever has is right out of a spaghetti western tough guy villain sort of
I mean,
motif.
it's you could make full arguments that it's hitting it a little too hard. He's got he has the Clint Eastwood hat on. He's got like a gun holster on his side. I mean, it's really hitting it hard. And at first when he shows up, it is definitely like, okay, this guy, but there's a great arc in Clone Wars where this is such a silly one, but it's great, where Obi-Wan has to like change his face to go undercover in like as in a prison. He basically to try to infiltrate to get information from Cad Bane, and like he has to orchestrate a prison break with Cad Bane, and it's just, I mean, just it's fun stuff, man. And just to see him back, even just briefly, like I don't know why they've got to give him his own show. Do it.
I think that it's important for this character that we all like to be, we're all to be reminded that he is evil. He's one of the characters that can do something this like impeachable. You can't have Fennec Shand kidnapping babies, I don't think. Although she does try to kidnap Omega.
Din Djarin is never capturing a baby because he saw a baby. You know what he did? He became that baby's daddy.
He daddied that baby.
He daddied that baby. Cad Bane ain't gonna daddy babies.
He caddies those babies.
He caddies those babies. He's not gonna daddy those babies. Alex, this is, I know. When we get too silly, we got to get out. Can we, Alex?
I need a cookie.
Is this Star Trek or Star Wars?
This is Star Wars. This is dead. This is dead down the line. Dave Filoni, Star Wars. Mwah. Thank you, David. We don't deserve you.
This is the starsiest Star Wars that ever Star Wars. Yeah, this is Star Wars. All right, let's take winners and losers over both all this stuff. Who's the big winner of all this stuff?
It's me once again. Like it's insane. You know what? The only way this could be any better is if I had an unlimited supply of toy money to buy all the toys that go along with these beautiful babies. I
mean, you can take out a credit card and get a bunch of it if you wanted to. It's just you might go into debt for it.
Not in this house, I can't, baby.
Hey-o, I'm gonna say the same thing as last week. We titled this show Nonstop Goo-Gah. The Goo-Gah we're at peak Goo-Gah time now. I mean, we got a girl named Jubilee wearing bright pink shades and roller skates in a video game, shooting fireworks out of her hand, and then later on has spinning flames out of her hands, and then we got kids being kidnapped, and I mean, Goo-Gah is winning the game, baby. Goo-Gah, Goo-Gah, Goo-Gah all time, nonstop.
Wackadoodle and Goo-Gah.
Wackadoodle. Big loser. I mean, it's repetitive. It's repetitive. I know that you can make the argument that like, Jubilee was in a video game this week, and that's nowhere near Louisiana, and Storm was in Dallas. We say Dallas so many times to the point where it's like, I get it, you're not in Louisiana, but that's not enough. It's not enough. If you're gonna have a Goo-Gah guy on a spider little cart running around and Jubilee growing old in a video game, there's no reason why they can't just walk by a boat at some point.
Exactly. I mean, we talked earlier about part of the point of these animated offerings to be in a space where the suspension of disbelief isn't so vital to the experience. And so, yeah, I'm in. It's wacky. Give me the boat. Give me the boat.
Give me the boat. Give me the boat. Day one boat stand kings.
The day one boat stand kings demand it. Kevin, David, you're right down the hall from each other. Put your heads together. Poke them out. Poke out the office door. Hey, can we get the boat on this one?
Don't just yell at each other. Go into each other's offices. Don't send it via Slack and have that face-to-face conversation. Unless, of course, one of you is sick, then don't go into the office. I'm getting real tired of people rolling into the office with like hacking coughs. I don't care. I know we're like, COVID is like, we're working with it and we're living with it. But dear God, if you're sick, just stay home, man. You don't got to be winning anything. Just stay home, bro. I'm working from home today.
Something that stuck with me closer to like peak pandemic like when people were like arguing about masks in schools, somebody in earnest said, but then we can't, if the kids are wearing masks, we can't see their smiles. And that like that person needs to be launched into the sun. Like, what are you talking about? What are you?
I'm just saying, there are so many times I'm out in public and I hear people with just like hacking coughs. And I understand, like, look, I had a cold, the cough's just lingering, sure. But you know when you can hear a cough and it's like, dude, you're sick, man. Just like stay home. You don't got to be a hero. Just like stay home, man. Where are you going? You got to go somewhere? Oh boy. Oh, we're switching microphones? You can't hear me. Oh, we got a headphone switch. Can you hear me now?
There we go. We got it.
Can we hear it now? All right, great.
I got you.
Let's do another ad read from I forget who the ad read was from this week. Who's it from?
Oh, this is from Rung Cougarand and his
That's
five
right.
wolf system.
That's right.
You ever think that if you'd had a six-pack, your dad wouldn't have left? Well, harness the five wolves inside you, and your dad will cry so hard he'll puke. Drive, hunger, competition, drive, and strong are the keys. How? By doing it. Science knows that wolves are the greatest of all animals, and when you've got five of them just rolling around inside you like your guts are a rock tumbler, you can rule the stars. Do you eat the wolves to get them in there? The only way you could eat five wolves is if 10 wolves were already inside you. When you harness the power of the five wolves, you won't ask so many stupid questions. So that's Rung Cougarand and the five wolf system.
Oh my God, the five wolf system. I'm getting more and more sold on this idea. You know what I'm definitely sold on is what time it is now. You know what time it is now?
Oh, it's my favorite time of the week.
It's game time. Here comes the stinger. Friday fun.
Oh yeah, gotta get to it.
Oh my God.
We definitely couldn't show my pelvic work on Twitch.
No, and I got to tell you, I just want someone just to walk in on me once while this is happening and just be like, good God, what are you doing, you adult man? Freddie Airmail says, is five wolves just a better Five Guys? Sounds like it.
It would be, yes.
All right, Alex. So today is my daughter's 11th birthday. She turns 11 today. Yeah, and she has wanted to be to see which Harry Potter house she is in for so many years, and she's like, all my friends have been sorted into their houses, and they knew what they went. And we were like, Harry Potter does not go to school until he's 11, and that's when you get sorted in Hogwarts. You get sorted. So we sorted her this morning. She took the test, and she is in Hufflepuff, like her mother and her father. We are a Hufflepuff house now. So. You are too? Well, guess what?
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna. They've updated the game a little bit because right now we're gonna give you another Harry Potter house sorting quiz. Are you ready?
God, Kenny, can I not do this live on the air? This is too high stakes. Okay,
Well,
let's do it.
Here we go. Okay, let's see.
Okay.
All right, you've made it to Hogwarts, which means you've already bought a wand from Ollivander's. What material is at its core? Phoenix feather, dragon heartstring, or unicorn hair?
Dragon heartstring.
Okay, we'll log that. Let's see, next question. During the end of year exams, you noticed that one of your classmates was using an enchanted quill. You come top of the class anyway, but they are second. What do? Tell the professor immediately cheating is wrong no matter what. Nothing, but if I hadn't come top of the class, I'd definitely tell the professor. Give them a high five for managing to sneak the quill into the exam, or find them after class and tell them if they ever do that again, you will show them where that quill can go. And yes, you mean there.
That last one, yeah, I would threaten them with a certain specific kind of assault.
Okay, great. Moving on. All right, you would be most hurt if a person called you weak, ignorant, unkind, or boring.
Oh God, just you saying the supposition is hurting me deeply.
Okay, what is it?
Unkind,
weak, ignorant, unkind, or boring. Okay. You're locked in a duel with a skilled opponent. They fire an unknown spell at you, and you shout, Expelliarmus, Protego, Stupefy, or I'll tell you where this wand can go, there. And I think you know what I mean when I say there.
That last one, baby. That's American. I'm not saying any Latin.
Okay.
I'm talking American right to him.
Right, got it. It's your 5th year at Hogwarts, and you've just received a howler from your parents. What for? Sneaking into the Forbidden Forest at a night on a dare? Getting caught cheating on my divination owl? Being put in detention after I was caught in the library after hours? Or, I mean, I think it goes without saying that either you made someone or maybe even you yourself put something up there. And again, if you don't know where there is, then you're as lost as the garbage fire who wrote all of the books.
I think that last one definitely is what they sent me a howler about.
Got it.
Log
All right.
that one in.
Which of these Dumbledore quotations speaks to you? Pity the living and above all, those who live without love. Words are, in my not so humble opinion, our most inexhaustible source of magic. It matters not what someone is born, but what they grow to be, or it does not do to dwell on dreams and forget to live.
It is not what someone is born, but what they do to be. That one.
What they grow to be?
What they grow to be, yeah.
Log it. Okay. Which of these most accurately describes your relationship with your closest friends? I love surrounding myself with people. The more friends I have, the better. I have a few very close friends that I would trust with my life. I tend to be wary around new people, so don't make new friends often, or no one seems to talk to me. Could that be because that one time when I got caught with the wand up there? But is it really that shocking? If someone keeps telling other people to do something, it's because they want to do it, right? So yeah, I put my wand up there. So what? Don't kink shame. Hold on. If someone keeps telling other people to do something, it's because they want to do it, right? So yeah, I put my wand up there. So what? Don't kink shame me, clown.
This is serious.
Which one accurately describes your relationship with your closest friends?
I have a few close friends who I trust with my life.
Got it. Okay. What skills are you most proud of? My ability to absorb new information, my ability to make new friends, my ability to get what I want, or my ability to keep secrets?
My ability to keep secrets.
Got it. It's Saturday. You've just finished your homework and you have some free time. You decide to spend some time away from your common room. Where do you go? The Forbidden Forest, the library, the kitchens, or someplace nice and quiet and most important. Sorry. Someplace nice and quiet and most importantly, private. Like super private. No chance anyone's going to be barging in on you kind of private.
Yeah, that last one.
Okay. All right. Shh. We're almost done. All right. Which path do you intend to follow after leaving Hogwarts? I joined the ministry. I want to make a difference in the world. I think I do. All right. I think I'd like to travel for a while before committing to a career. I'd settle down and start a family as soon as possible. Or you got something to do with... All right. You got something to do with butts?
You got something to do with butts.
All right. Got it. And finally, we know the Sorting Hat takes into account your preferences. So which Hogwarts house do you feel you identify with most closely? Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, or Slytherin?
Gryffindor.
All right. Let's see. I'm going to total it up here and let's see what you get. All right. Let's see. You get trans people are people and deserve to be seen and heard. And JK can leave 20 tweet April Fool's jokes to the effing curb, and she and Joe Rogan can stick wands up their butts for all I care. That's what you got.
That's perfect. That's what I wanted.
And that was the room of requirement is very private. Yes, it is.
That made me laugh so hard that my stomach muscles are aching now.
You got something to do with butts? Oh man. Sometimes I make myself laugh. Let's get to the this is the Hoopla recommendations. Hoopla, you go in, app, you're on your computer, you put your library card in, you can check out comic books. Alex, you got comics for the folks.
Right. Yes, I do. Go to Hoopla. I'm continuing on my thing. Trail of Shadows, the High Republic. It's like mid-wave to phase 14. I don't know, but it's a lot of fun. It's good stuff.
I'm going to just second that. Yeah, just go in there and type Star Wars High Republic. Pretty much anywhere you start is going to be great. All that stuff is really, really cool and fun. I am also still working through the Scott Pilgrims, loving that as well. Do we have one more ad read from that goofy guy who keeps wanting you to get the 5 wolves?
Yeah, Rung Cougarand in the 5 wolf system. He says that the 5 wolf system will make you so powerful you will only be romantically attracted to Kodiak grizzlies and killer whales. For these are the only beings on your level because they each have 8 wolves inside of them. We tried to get more wolves into our system, but we maxed out at 5. You know what your mom said? Go back to barber college, loser. Then she kissed your stepdad real hard. When you have the 5 wolves, drive, hunger, competition, drive, and strong, it's you that mom's going to kiss hard. Wait, not like that.
Thanks, Rand. That's his name, right? Rand?
Rung. R-U-N-G, Rung.
Some of the names that a lot of the people you find ads from are so fascinating.
There's a lot of characters down here.
There are. I don't know if we're going to be able to recover from that game. But let's just get out of here real quick. This is the part we find out what our dogs think. What did your dogs think of all this animation?
Lupo was really pleased with the idea that he could finally see stuff in 32-bit because back when it was popular, it was on CRT monitors and dogs couldn't see it, but now they can see it.
That's great. My dog was in neither room with me when I was watching this, so that she's out. I guess she's out. I guess she saw what she saw last week and she was like, this is enough. She's not even in the room. She's home. We're home. I'm home by myself right now. She usually doesn't like when someone's in here. She is out of the room and has not scratched on the door once. So she's just like, I don't want anything to do with this. So she's over it.
This nerd business.
This dork stuff. Dork stuff. We did it. We did it. That was some real dork stuff that we just did. The butt stuff.
Full on adult butt stuff, and that's just what we're going to say at the end as we close. Sorry to your family.
Well, let's just do
around who this podcast is oriented.
Yeah, where can you? Well, Bad Batch is supposed to be a cartoon for kids, and kids are getting kidnapped and murdered on that show. So hey, where can the folks find you?
You can find me at Duke_Midnight on Threads, on Instagram, and then wherever major magazines are sold.
Are you doing a show? When's your show? You did your show last night. You got one more.
Oh,
right?
It was last night. We got one more in 2 weeks. So not this Thursday, but the one after.
Boom. You can find me at Kenny G. Stevenson on Twitch and TikTok. I'm at Kenny G. Donut King on Threads and Instagram. I'm doing an open mic on Monday. Please don't come. And because I'm not going to tell you where it is because look.
Then why'd you bring it up?
I don't know. But they can find you up someone's butt. That's right. They can find me up someone's butt. Will it be live? No. I mean, I guess it will be live. I'm not telling you where it is because open mics are terrible to go to, but a necessary evil for people who do stand-up comedy. So, Alex, I just assume we're going to be talking about this stuff next week too. Just nonstop Goo-Gah.
Nonstop Goo-Gah Volume 2, Episode 3.
The Phantom Menace. You got something to do with butts? Great, here we go. Bye, friends.
Bye.
Oh, I gotta play the video.
Would you get it together every week?
Here
Kenny,
we go. Bye.